Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for joining my YouTube channel. This is a spiritual bodybuilder, and today I will be talking about the Saboteur archetype. Now, before you watch this video, please go watch my video titled The 4 Survival Archetypes and Mental Illness to understand the structure in which this information is being created. But without further ado, the Saboteur archetype is how we sabotage ourselves, plain and simple, okay? It's part of the 4 survival archetypes that every human being has within their being that we hold ourselves back in life. And everyone is going to go through this process at some point in their life to where these archetypes are going to come up. And this one, for me, has been a very powerful one personally that I've worked through and really struggled with for many years. And these archetypes, think of an archetype as just a voice in your head, okay? We all have multiple voices in our head, the ones that are motivated, the ones that are disempowered, the ones that are frustrated, the ones that are, lustful, the ones that are excited, the ones that are sad, and every part of the spectrum of emotion that exists. And the deeper our consciousness goes, the wider that spectrum becomes, right? And also that spectrum becomes deeper as we identify these things within ourselves and understand the structure from which these things play out. Now, these archetypes were learned in childhood. These are the things that we learn to understand over time. And now as adults, we have to, they play out in different ways in our lives, and we have to identify the way that they play out and face them, feel them, and work through them in order to become the person that we want to be. Deep down inside, we all have this feeling, this knowing that we're worth something more, right? We have greater amount of love to give. We have greater potential within our being. And it's these archetypes that hold us back from that. So the Saboteur archetype is a voice within us that it tells us that we're going to fail, all right? We set up experiences in our life that are going to validate that idea of failure. It's the voice in our head that tells us that something is going to fail before it succeeds. I've seen this play out in my own life in relationships, right? You're going along, you meet someone, you have a great connection, things are going awesome, and you're like, oh, man, it's too good to be true, right? Like, this is everything I want, but it's just something's going to go wrong. I know, because something always goes wrong. That happens. And then all of a sudden, we find situations playing out and happening that create or validate that feeling within ourselves. And like, I knew it was going to happen like that. I knew this was going to happen. I knew I wasn't going to get that money. I knew I was going to get that promotion. I knew I was going to win that show. I knew I wasn't going to, hit that many home runs in that game. Whatever it is, it can be anything. All right. This is the voice, the feeling within us that tells us why something won't work. It's controlling. It's for taking the fears and the experiences of yesterday and projecting them into the future, right? When we're stuck in the past, we've had a lot of bad experiences, we come into a new experience like, nope, I recognize this, I know this. The problem is, though, it's a fear-based energy, right? So when we're feeling this, we're not in a place of acceptance. We're not in a place of growth. We're in a place of constriction, of control, of no, get away from me. I'm going to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. This is too much, too bad, too vulnerable, too tough, too intense, too much responsibility, whatever, right? It's highly rational. We can trick ourselves into believing that things are not going to work out for us, even though we might have, the woman or man of our dreams right in front of us, or the job opportunity of our dreams sitting right in front of us. And then we can break it down. And of course, anything with a lot of opportunity requires a lot of responsibility. Anything that requires a lot of responsibility requires a lot of work. It's work to be good. It's work to force ourselves, or I wouldn't say force, but it's work to allow ourselves to accept and to flow into these places that are good for us, right? So when we start to rationalize, it's that rational mindset that's always, when we overanalyze, analysis paralysis is what I call it, right? We're always analyzing and coming from our mind as opposed to our heart, that's when we can overthink ourselves into the saboteur, right? The saboteur is essentially overthinking. It's not being able to relax your mind. And then that leads to procrastination. That leads to, it sets in stone a behavioral pattern of fear of change, and it keeps our pride really strong. And that pride, man, pride is not unhealthy unless it is disempowering us, right? Like having pride, like say, we volunteer at a Boys and Girls Club, right? We have pride in helping children to see something better for a better life. But having pride and staying stuck like a kid having a tantrum, like, no, I don't want to go, that's the kind of pride that we want to stay away from. And we know this deep down, right? It just, when these triggers come up and these things come up and they're trying to teach us something, we can either allow our pride and our ego to throw up that wall, like, nope, I'm not going to let you talk shit. I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going to control it. I'm going to stay safe. I'm going to stay behind this wall and I'm going to keep myself hidden. All right. That is the saboteur archetype. That is where we stay locked into the same structure that we've been in. And look, the only thing that is constant in life is change. All right. Change is inevitable. It is constant. So instead of getting locked into this control mechanism where we do everything we can to keep everything the same, to keep everything from changing, we need to allow those triggers to come up, feel them, take a step back, let it go through us, and then walk through it. And when we learn how to change our behavior pattern from throwing that wall up and standing back and just ignoring it or avoiding it, and stepping into it and allowing ourselves to sort of melt into it or flow into the energy. The energy is always coming and going, right? So when we feel something we don't like, and it usually locks us up. Instead of getting locked up, that's where the self-care and self-love comes in. Take a deep breath, take a step back, do something loving for yourself that's going to help you, open yourself up to receiving that trigger and allowing it to teach you, and then coming back to it when it's gone through, learning the lesson and proceed forward. Okay. So if you're always asking yourself, why does this always happen to me? That is the saboteur. It's happening to you because the saboteur is kicking your ass, man. And so stop asking yourself, why is this happening to me? That's a disempowering belief system, all right, or a thought process. And think, what am I meant to learn from this situation? What is it trying to teach me? Because everything in our life is our teacher, if you think about it. So allow it to teach you and allow it to help you grow and learn and flourish and process, right? So that we can stay up with the change, because when the change comes, we can go with it and it can bring us to that higher plane, that higher vibration, that new sense of self, that new life, or we can allow it to hold us down and we can get caught and trapped in this basement of funk. It's sort of like getting stuck in a funk. And when you're stuck in a funk, here's a little guidance for if you're stuck in a funk, because right now especially there are a lot of people that are going through that. You're stuck in a funk, you have to realize this, that everything that you're doing right now is not working. So whatever it is that you're doing, stop doing it. Don't try to figure out something else to do. Instead, just take out the things that you are doing in your daily life. It could be anything. It really anything from the way that you work out to, the way that you sleep. Instead of sleeping on your back, sleep on your side. Or, like instead of, lifting weights, go do yoga. Try something different that's outside your comfort zone. And you may be surprised at what that different experience teaches you. But allow yourself to be taught, okay? And the procrastination, like it's comfortable, it's easy. And when we're in this place and we're being triggered really bad, we want to stay in that place and we want to just not deal with the world. And, for a little while that might be necessary, okay? But make a change that is going towards self-love. And when you hear these voices in your head, why does this always happen to me? Why is this not working? you know, this is going to fail. Like, I'm not even going to try it because I know it's just not going to work, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Quiet the mind. Use some binaural beats. Quiet the mind and allow yourself to flow through it and face it and feel it. And you'll be surprised at how inadvertently the lesson comes around. And 2 days later, you might just be driving, listening to a song, and the song speaks to you. And you're like, oh, that's what that meant to teach me. All right, well, sweet. And then you just feel this lightness. And the energy just lightens up. Just feel better, right? So I hope this information was helpful. If you would like, if you like this content, you like more of it, please comment below and like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. And you can go to my website, trinityfitnessastrology.com, for more information about my services. And aho.